Hello and welcome to a new episode on Sadhana World Foundation. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, there have been massive protests in Bangladesh, led by the students and the youth. It's essentially against the government policies towards employment and job opportunities. But this protest has become so huge that there have been many situations of violence, rioting, loss of lives. The whole world is watching this. Naturally, there is a lot of debate and discussions going on about the protest, and people are thinking how the world is going to look like. Some people have gone to the extent of seeing that their future is uncertain. Some are saying that this is a grand design of the Muslims, that they want to establish a world order which is to be presided by them, and the definition of countries has to be around religions. So this whole dialogue has become in some ways toxic, in some ways extremely sad about the loss of lives, and extremely complex and complicated. So I started thinking about it. I thought that something which emanated from the situation of a group of people not being happy with the government's policy towards job opportunities, towards employment, towards reservations, has now taken the shape of a conflict which is about religious sentiments. Probably the purpose of it is now very different. The fact that so many people have lost their lives is extremely saddening. Riots are not new to human civilization. It's not a modern day phenomenon. If we think about history, we see that big riots that we can think of have taken place in the 6th century against the Byzantine Empire, the Nika riots. We can think of the French Revolution of the 18th century. We can think of the peasants' revolt in the 16th century. There have been many. And in recent times, of course, in India, we have had the Sikh riots in 1984. We had in China the Tiananmen Square massacre, and many more. If we really deep dive and think about this, we will all see that these riots have emanated from a sense of unfairness, from a sense of inequality, from a sense of injustice. A group of people thought that they are not getting what they deserve. And there is another group which is always out there to influence the thinking and say that, hey, you are being exploited by someone else. So it is very sad to think that there are millions of people in the world today who are thinking that there is a grand design which is going around, and the whole establishment of so many nations is being questioned in their minds. If we look into our ancient texts, we will also find very interesting scenario. Let's talk about the epic Mahabharata. We have heard of the Kshatriya revolution, Parashuram, the warrior Brahmin, who was determined to remove the Kshatriyas from the face of the earth. For 21 generations of Kshatriyas he wanted to destroy. Similarly, we had the Mausala Parva, which is the 16th part of the 18th part epic of the Mahabharata. There, the entire Yadav clan's destruction has been described. Over a period of time, after the Kurukshetra war is over, the Mahabharata war is over, the empire of the Yadavs is very prosperous. However, over a period of time, the youth lose their direction, they become fun-loving, they become carefree, they are not working very hard, they are just being indulgent in various activities. Krishna was advising them, yet nobody was there to listen. An argument over Satyaki and Kritavarma turns into such a huge dispute that the people in the Yadav clan start infighting and they start destroying each other. Ultimately, the entire clan is finished. So, what we learn from this? I think what we learn from historically taken place events or conflicts, as well as the teachings in our ancient texts, whether it is the Mahabharata or similar such many other ancient texts, they all tell us the same thing. They tell us that many such conflicts happen out of small things. If we can't spot them, we can't nip them in the bud, it sort of snowballs into something very big. We just talked about Mausala Parva, where Satyaki and Kritavarma were arguing over an incident in the Mahabharata. But we have to remember that the slippage had started over years, where the youth had lost their direction. They were only enjoying their life because their empire was extremely prosperous. That was the root cause. The root cause was not the argument between Satyaki and Kritavarma. So the learning is that we need to spot the issue right at its beginning, right at its root, and nip that bud at that point in time so that the bud doesn't become a flower. The same thing we can think about the Sikh riots, about the Tiananmen Square, about the French Revolution, about the Nika riots, and so on and so forth. So our ancient texts tell us, our history tells us that it is the leader who needs to have a calm mind and a balanced head to spot the issue, to identify, to show the intent to solve it, and to engage in a debate, discussion, and a dialogue with all the stakeholders and resolve it. If we don't, then what happened to the Yadav clan or what happened to many other civilizations would happen to us. So the choice is ours, whether we want to see this conflict as an opportunity to resurrect, to rethink about our beliefs, or we get guided on the garden path by the fanatic. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear children, thank you for watching this, and thank you for giving a thought about this point of right behaviors which are presented in our ancient texts. Thank you for spreading these words of wisdom which are embedded deeply in our ancient texts, and I strongly believe that these could help all of us lead a better life, lead a happier life. I look forward to our future conversations.